Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Krendor, and welcome back to Krendor Talks in front of a shitty green screen. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Flesh Eater Courts faction focus, and I'm pretty excited about this one. The other one I talked about, which was the Ogres last time, it was okay. And some of the other ones been good and bad, but I'm really liking the Flesh Eater Courts. So let's jump into why I like the Flesh Eater Courts. All right, here we are. Warhammer faction focus, Flesh Eater Courts. Battle traits. So, first thing I noticed is a lot of this feels similar to their current Battletome, right? So let's just jump right into noble deeds points. Each friendly Flesh Eater Courts hero starts the battle with 0 noble deed points, and you can have 6 maximum at once. Each time a friendly Flesh Eater Courts hero uses a fight ability, after that ability has been resolved, give that hero a number of noble deeds points equal to the number of damage points inflicted by that ability. Do not count attacks made with companion weapons. Each time a friendly Flesh Eater Courts priest hero uses a prayer ability and the prayer is answered after the ability has been resolved, give that hero 1 noble deed point. And then same with spell casting. A wizard, they cast a spell, it's successful, they get a noble deed point. So kind of similar to what it pretty much is currently. You don't get them anymore for standing on objectives, or it was something with controlling objectives, something like that. But great, we still got noble deeds points. I think that's cool. I really like the noble deed system. So then we have Feeding Frenzy. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons, including companion weapons used by friendly Flesh Eater Courts while they are wholly within 12 of any friendly hero that have noble six noble deed points. So that's something that I believe they also currently have as well. So very cool. Muster Guard. Pick a friendly courtier hero that has 1 or more noble deed point to use this ability. And you can spend either 1 or 2 of that hero's noble deed points. If you spend 1 noble deed point, return 1 slain model to a friendly serfs unit wholly within 12. If you spend 2, you can return a slain knights model wholly within 12. So bringing back I believe this is like exactly the same still. Pick a friendly abhorrent hero that has 6 noble deed points and a serfs or knights unit that's been destroyed. Spend all of your noble deed points and set up a replacement unit with half the models rounding up wholly within 6 of the battlefield edge and 9 from all enemy units. So I mean, this I'm almost convinced this is like exactly the same. If not, there might be little tweaks here and there, but like for the most part, it feels like the 3rd edition book that they got a few months ago was thought up with 4th edition in mind. I kind of get that vibe where they were like, all right, we kind of know how well, they obviously knew they were making the 4th edition, right? And they knew it was coming pretty close. So they were probably like, listen, we might as well make them pretty similar to how we wanted to play in 4th, right? So, I mean, it feels great. And then finally, you have once per turn, army, your hero phase, pick any number of friendly aberrants to be targets, heal D3 each target, which fantastic. That seems pretty good. Free healing, right? I guess it makes sense, right? The vampiric blood that courses through an abhorrent's veins can heal even the most terrible wounds. So pretty cool. Granted, it's only your hero phase, but still, free healing. I mean, who's gonna pass up free healing, right? Battle formations. We got the Ghoul Patrol. When players are alternating picking units to use fight ability, when it is your turn to pick a unit, you can pick 2 Crypt Ghoul units instead of 1. Neither unit can have strike last. Resolve the second fight immediately after the first. So you can just fight back-to-back ghouls. That's pretty cool. I don't know the Ghoul War Scroll yet, but I mean, ghouls were actually pretty good in the previous edition. Well, book or whatever you want to call it. Like, they were pretty solid. For being just like shitty ghouls, they were pretty good. Granted, I know they're retooling everything, they're revamping War Scrolls and everything, so who knows? Ghouls may suck, and this may be completely useless, but maybe once you buff them up, they'll be good. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see if this is going to be any good. Then we have the Arcana and Incantations. So this is the Flesh Eater Court Endless spell, I believe. The Summon Corpse Mare's Stampede. Wholly within 9, more than 9 from enemies on a 7. And here it is. It's got a 12-inch move, 10 health, 5 up save, 7 on the old banishment, 10 attacks, 5x3 is 1 damage. The manifestation can move a distance up to its move characteristic. This manifestation can pass through models and combat ranges of enemy units, but it cannot end that move in combat. Then pick up to 3 enemy units that it passed across during that move to be the targets. Roll d3 for each. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. Dude, more d3. These d3 rolls are going to blow so many people's minds. It's going to mess with my mind, too. But yeah, so it's on a 3+, if you're rolling a d6, on a 3-up, it does 2 or 3 mortal wounds. Right? Because it's like on a 3 or a 4, you're doing 2 mortal wounds, and then on a 5 or a 6, you're doing 3 mortal wounds. So, yes. I mean, we'll get used to it. I think everybody will get used to it to a point. It's just, or I might just even buy a D3 at this point. I don't even think I have a D3. Maybe I'll get one just so I don't have to deal with remembering all this. So cool. Then we have Usharan. Okay, this is the big one. So, in fact, let me pull up Usharan's old war scroll just so I can remember, because I know they've changed some stuff. Hold on, I'm pulling it. This is high quality. This is a high quality video. Here we go. Usharan. So he's currently 10 move, 16 wounds, 4-up save, 10 bravery. So now he's 5 control instead of 10 bravery. So I mean, bravery's gone, so it doesn't really matter. So Scepter of the Carrion King, 4 attacks, 3s by 2s, 2 Ren, D3 +3. His current war scroll is 3 attacks, 3s by 2s, 2 Ren, D3 +3. So he's got +1 to hit from this. That's pretty nice. Or no, he's got +1 attack. What am I can't. Brain no work. And then he's got Monstrous Talons, which 8 attacks. Currently he's at 10 attacks, but he brackets down to 8, 6, and 4, which, thank God, again, bracketing is gone. I hate bracketing so much because I just hate figuring out, like, where's my wounds at? What do I got? Now it's just like, listen, if you've taken 10 or more damage, your one thing gets affected. Like, cool. That's fine with me. That's perfectly fine. So 3 by 3, 1 Ren, 2 damage. That's exactly the same. So you lose out on his old 10 attacks, but you just sit at 8 and then go down to 6 when you bracket, and then you no longer go down to 4, which was absolutely terrible. He is a wizard 2, which he was also a wizard 2 previously. He's got a 5-up ward, which I think he just had the standard 6-up ward. No, he had the 5-up ward. Never mind. I'm dumb. And then he has the buff, the Carrion King, which he had previously. It's like exactly the same, so it doubles the attack range for units wholly within 24 instead of 12, where they get the +1 to their attack characteristic, which is pretty nice, giving more things +1 attack, including him, actually, so when you think about it. So he's also going to benefit from that, which makes him hit even harder. He used to have the old Shroud Cage Fragment, which was a bravery thing, and that has been removed, and now it is pick up to 3 enemy units in combat with this unit to be the targets. This is once per turn, any combat phase. You can do this in your opponents as well. Roll a dice for each target. If the roll exceeds their control characteristic, the target has strike last. So the previous one, just for contrasting, showing you, at the start of the combat phase, subtract 1 from bravery for each enemy unit within 3 until the end of the battle, then roll 2d6 for each enemy unit within 1. If the result's higher than the bravery of that unit, the strike last effect applies. So this is just, honestly, way more easy. It's less to keep track of. It's mainly there just to give last strike so he can beat stuff up. I think that's great. And then he's got Glimpse of Delusion, which I believe is exactly the same. It's a cast on a 7, range 18. Literally all the same, and then you pick an enemy and have one of their melee weapons hit one of their allies. So you're essentially mind controlling somebody, right? To be like, hey, fight your friend. Then he's like, blah, and he just like swings at him, which I think it's a pretty funny spell, to be honest. I like it a lot. Just making one of your enemies fight each other, and potentially kill them. I think it's pretty cool. So that's really cool. And then we've got his hero phase, which I believe is where they tied in the old Flesh Eater Court whatever they were called. I can't remember what they were called. The things where you got bonuses for your army, right? So now, if you have Usharan, you can pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of your next turn. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Flesh Eater Court units that target a monster. Add 1 to run rolls and charge rolls for friendly Flesh Eater Court units, which that was already an insane one to pick in the previous 3.0. I would imagine I would be taking that very often. Add 1 to save rolls for Flesh Eater Court's units while they are contesting an objective you control. So, still pretty good. I think this is even stronger in this edition because you had add 1 to save rolls for Flesh Eater Court units in the 3.0 one, but there were so many mortal wounds, it was like, who cares? Now that there's less mortal wounds, adding 1 to save, and there's actually a less rend across the board as well, adding 1 to save rolls is probably going to be pretty strong. And then you've got add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by other Flesh Eater Court heroes if they charge in that turn. So, I mean, I can see situationally, you know, playing around with all these because, I mean, you can pick each one, right? This is just pick one of the following until the start of your next turn. So, I mean, you can swap. You could be like, oh, I'm going to do one run and charge this turn. Next turn, I'm going to go wound rolls because I'm going to fight a monster, right? You can pick and choose, which is really nice. And then you can go back to run and charge. It doesn't say you can't pick it again, right? So, I mean, turn 1, you can go take an objective and give your guys +1 to save and then be like, all right, come fight me. I'm +1 to save, right? And then they come fight you. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to go add 1 to run and charge now so I can go charge you, turn 2. And then turn 3, you're like, oh, I'm going to fight a monster. I get +1 to wound, right? So, I mean, you can do a lot of, playing around with this. I like this a lot. I think Usharan's almost an auto include, but we'll have to see his points, obviously, but still really strong. Then we have the Marrow Scroll Herald, 6 move, 5 health, 5 save, 2 control, 5 attacks, 4s by 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. So he used to, I believe, offer the bone, if I recall correctly, which was a really weird thing. And now it's while this unit is not in combat and is wholly within the combat ranges of 3 or more of the friendly Flesh Eater Court's infantry models, it is not visible. Okay, I think he had that as well. But now, once per turn, any charge phase. Okay, so this is any charge phase. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice on a 3-up. Pick one of the following effects. Friendly Flesh Eater Court units in combat with the target have strike first for the rest of the turn. That's pretty good. And then we have Welcome the Disciple. The target has the infected keyword for the rest of the battle. Each time your opponent declares a command, spell ability, or prayer ability for an infected unit, roll a dice. On a 5-up, if they declared a command, that command has no effect. The command still counts as having been used, and the command points spent to use the command are still lost. If they declare a spell or a prayer, that spell or prayer fails. That's pretty good. I mean, it's on a 5-up, but still, the fact that you are able to do some insane, like you're just canceling spells, prayers, and commands, especially in this edition where commands seem to be really, really prevalent. That seems really strong. Like you do have to do this in the charge phase. So, I imagine this is after you've been charged. So, either after you've been charged or counter-charged, because it could be anyone, right? And you roll a dice, and then, so if, say, somebody charges you, right? You want this guy near a unit so that he's brought into combat as well. So, say, you have a guy you really want alive, and somebody charges it. You keep this guy right there. So he's just like, hey, I'm here too. Ready to pop my 3-up thing. And then, if he does that, then you have strike first on a 3-up. So, I mean, just getting strike first alone is pretty insane. I mean, you can also do this thing, depending, but strike first, especially if it's a hard-hitting thing. I don't know. This guy, he's such a weird character. He's also not a wizard, he's not a priest, but he's just kind of annoying. He can be annoying. I don't know. I think he's goofy. I like him a lot. Then we got the Crypt Guard. 3 attacks, 4x4, 1 rend, 1 damage. They're Crypt Guard. While any friendly Flesh Eater Quartz hero are wholly within this unit's combat range, both this unit and those heroes have a ward of 5 up, which is very nice. Otherwise, they have a 6 up ward. If any damage points inflicted by attacks made as part of a fight ability are allocated to enemy units, those enemy units cannot use commands until the start of your next turn. So you can shut off commands, which, again, probably even stronger in this edition. So, I mean, Crypt Guard looking pretty good, pretty solid. We'll have to see how many points they're worth, but looking good. Then we have the Royal Zombie Dragon, which I think is pretty solid. So let me pull up the old War Scroll just to compare it, because it's actually, I think, actually better now. I mean, again, it depends on the points, right? It's just, it all comes down to points. But here we go. Royal Zombie Dragon. So currently, it has 14 wounds, 4 up save, 10 bravery. Now it's 5 control. Bravery doesn't matter. 14-inch move in the current one, but then it brackets down to 12, 10, and 8. So this is just, it's staying at 12, which is pretty nice. Like, I would take 12 move over a bracketing 14, like down to 8. Like, oh boy. But he has the Pestilential Breath, which is a 10-inch range down from 12, D6 attacks. It used to be 3x3, 1 rend, 3 damage. Now it's 2x4s, 1 rend, 3 damage. Shoot in combat. So that's huge, because as we've seen numerous times in other War Scrolls, you can't shoot in combat anymore unless you have the shoot in combat ability. So now, having shoot in combat, it's almost like having a bonus melee profile, you know? So that's pretty nice, just getting some extra attacks that are hitting for 3 damage. Like, if you high roll this with like 5 or 6 attacks, like, you're probably getting a couple through with 3 damage, and that's gonna hurt. Then we have the Snapping Maw, or now it's called the Draconic Maw, which is 3 attacks, 4x2, 2 rend, 3 damage. It used to be 3 attacks, 4x3, 3 rend, 3 damage. So it's now easier to wound, but you lose a rend, which honestly I think is better, because like they said, saves and rend are kind of down across the board. So I think getting the +1 to wound is probably vastly superior to the rend. And then Draconic Claws, which used to be Sword-like Claws, which is 7 attacks, 4s x2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. Again, it's the same as it used to be, but it's wounding on a 2 instead of a 3. It used to wound on 3s. So it also drops to 5 attacks when it's battle damage. So that's actually big, because that's a... or wait, no, 7 down to 5. Never mind. I saw the 10, and I thought it was 10 down to 5. I was like, that's terrible. No, 7 down to 5. So yeah, it used to bracket 7, 6, 5, 4. So I mean, I think that's pretty good. Like, it's hitting pretty hard. It's got companions, so it's not going to benefit from other buffs. I don't think it would benefit from anything but all-out attack, because all-out attack does include companions. So like any other attack buffs, it's not going to get, but that's still pretty good. And then it's got Deep Strike, essentially. You can deploy it off the battlefield. It can Deep Strike anywhere within 9. Cool. But here's the big one. So it's Lost Terror, which is the Inspiring Presence command, can't be used, whatever. Okay, this thing is vastly superior. This is insane. So this is what I believe the Frost Lord currently has, which is kind of funny that we didn't see the ogres having this, but the Royal Zombie Dragon does. And I think the Gloomspite Gits also have this with the squigs, the Mangler squigs. If this unit charged this turn, roll a dice. On a 3-up, this unit can move 2d6. It can pass through the combat ranges of enemy units, but must end that move in combat. Then, pick an enemy unit that this unit passed across during the move. Inflict D3 mortal damage on that enemy unit. Wow. This is so good, because, I mean, it's a line buster, right? If somebody's screening an important character or something they want screened, you charge that. You're like, okay, what's up? I'm going to try to charge through you. You roll your 3. You're like, cool. And then you just fly past them. You inflict mortal damage onto them. And now you're in combat with the thing you want to kill. Like, it's so good. It is insane how good it is. However, I mean, and I know I mentioned the Frost Lord losing that or whatever, but technically haven't seen all the Ogre War Scrolls. So, I mean, the Frost Lord on stone, we've only seen the Huskarl or whatever his name is. So, I mean, the Frost Lord might still have this for all we know, right? We haven't seen all the War Scrolls, but this is so good. Like, anytime I've used this with other armies, like the Frost Lord or like the Mangler Squig, it's just, it's insane. Like, being able to just charge something and then be like, all right, seal it. It's like extending your charge is what it is, right? Because let's say something is your standard charge range, like 12, right? Well, now you can potentially charge like 24 inches, because if you max roll 12 inches and you land there and then you roll the 3 up and you get another 12, you've now gone 24 inches and done mortal wounds to their screen, and now you're in combat with something. Like, that's insane. It's so good. So I loved it. I think this is great. So I'm definitely excited for this guy. And then we got some Spearhead stuff, which is cool. And then we got the Morbeg Knights, 12 move, 4 health, 4 up save, 1 control. You got your Grizzly Lances, 2 attacks, 3s/4s, 1 rend, 1 damage. Charge gets +1 damage. So that's very nice. And then 3 attacks, 4s/3s, 1 rend, 2 damage on the bat dudes that they're riding on. So they're essentially getting 5 attacks, 3x3, 4x3, 3x4, some mixture of that, 1 rend, 2 damage. So, you know, they hit pretty decently hard. And then they've got this unit can use charge abilities even if it uses a retreat ability in the same turn. In addition, no mortal damage is inflicted on this unit when it uses retreat abilities. So that's pretty cool. I imagine the Sigmar version also has a similar rule thing like that. Maybe they also have a do mortals on the charge or something. I don't know. Maybe they don't. They probably don't do mortals on the charge. They probably do something, right? I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. We'll have to see. But, I mean, overall, after looking through all this, it still feels like Flesh Eater Courts. Like, I think if you're a Flesh Eater Courts player, which I am somebody that has a Flesh Eater Courts army and all of these units that were shown on the War Scroll, I'm pumped, man. Like, I'm ready to play this army. This probably looks like one of the strongest armies we've seen so far. Like, they have so many tools in the toolkit. They have really good monstrous actions. They've got good monsters. They've got some, like, just, it seems like they got good everything. So let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And if you missed any other faction focuses, here's a couple on the screen. And I will see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya.